All right, today we're talking about lesson 3.5, write and graph linear equations, or equations of lines. This is like a review from Algebra 1, but could have been a minute since you had that, so let us recap what that means. And this is the last lesson for Chapter 3, so here we go. All right, in this example, here I have a coordinate plane. We're going to write an equation. Sorry, I don't know why I have and. Write an equation of the line from the graph. All right, so remember this equation. Remember slope-intercept form? Y equals mx plus b. That's the equation of a line, right? That's what we're going to be using here. So what we need to find are the b, which is the y-intercept, and the m, which is the slope. We talked about slope in the last lesson, so we can find slope from a graph, or we can use it 2 points. At this point, I'm just going to use the graph because I just find it easier. All right, the y-intercept is the point that crosses the y-axis. That's right here. That's 4, so b equals 4. Easy find. Now to find the slope, I'm going to start at this lower point here, and I count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over 1, 2, 3. So m equals 6 over 3, which reduces to 2. All I need to do is plug those numbers back into the equation I have, back into my slope-intercept form. And I have y equals 2x. Ooh, you know what? It is negative 2. Look at that. I went to the left and I forgot. That would be negative here. My apologies. So y equals negative 2x plus 4. Plug in m and b. That is all there is to it. From a graph, it's very simple. Locate the y-intercept, calculate the slope, pay attention to what direction you're going, if it's positive or negative, and then plug in the slope and the y-intercept and you're good to go. All right, now if we're just given information, we can put it together too. Remember, slope-intercept form of a line is y equals mx plus b. M represents the slope, b is the y-intercept. Here it says write an equation of a line that has a slope of 1/2 and a y-intercept of negative 4. That couldn't possibly be any easier. Y equals 1/2 x. Don't forget x, right? Minus 4. Okay, that's simple. Just plug in m and b. All right, in example 2, it says write an equation of a line that passes through the point and has a slope of negative 3. Now remember, a point is an x comma y. Okay, I'm still going to use y equals mx plus b. And don't forget, negative 3 is going to be my m. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in all these values, right? Y equals mx plus b. I'm going to write it above it. And then I'm going to plug in what I got. And it's solve for b. I'm going to find my y-intercept. So 1 equals negative 3 times 2 plus b. 1 equals negative 6 plus b. Add 6 to both sides and I get b equals 7. Now I just got to slap it back together, right? Plug in m and b. Y equals negative 3x plus 7. There is my equation. Okay, and if I went too fast, you know, you can pause, rewind. That's the beauty of recording videos. All right, number 3. Oh my gosh, now I'm given 2 points. Remember, we just talked about slope, because what are the 2 things we need for the equation of a line? We need a slope, and we need a y-intercept. So for the slope, we're going to use the slope formula, because we have 2 points. All right, remember that's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 Right, and I plug in my points here. I have 0 minus 1 over 8 minus 2. Negative 1 over 6 is my slope. Now I need my b. All right, I'm not too happy about that slope, but that is what it is. So to find my y-intercept, I'm going to pick a point to plug in to y equals mx plus b. I'm going to pick that point. That's going to be my x comma y. And I already have my m right here. I'm going to plug that in and see what happens. All right, so 0 equals negative 1/6 times 8 plus b. All right, now I'm going to get out my fancy calculator because that's how I do it, right? And I'm going to take negative 1/6 times 8 and turn it into a fraction. And I get negative 4/3. Or you could just easily multiply these together. I didn't have to get out my calculator and get negative 8 over 6, which reduces to negative 4 over 3. So now I have 0 equals negative 4 over 3 plus b. I want to get b by itself, so I add 4/3 to both sides, and I get 4/3 equals b, or b equals 4/3. Doesn't matter how you say it, it's the same. I have both of my pieces of information. I can write my equation of a line. Y equals my m, which was negative 1/6, x, don't forget x, plus 4 over 3. That's it. Not a nice y-intercept, but it is what it is. Okay, so when you have 2 points, find the slope, find your y-intercept, and put it together. All right, now we have a different situation here in number 4. We're going to write an equation of a line that passes through a point, this x comma y, and is parallel to the line. So that means this is my slope. Okay, that's the only thing I'm taking from that line. So m is negative 3 over 2, and I'm going to use the point 2 comma 3. I'm going to plug it into y equals mx plus b. So 3 equals negative 3 over 2 times 2 plus b. So I can find my y-intercept. 3 equals, when I multiply negative 3 over 2 times 2, the 2's cancel each other out, and I just have negative 3 plus b. Add 3 to both sides, and I get b is equal to 6. So I now have my 2 very important pieces of information to plug in. Y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 6. There's my final answer. Again, if you need more time, pause the video. All right, number 5, we're going to write an equation of a line that passes through the point 0 comma negative 3 and is parallel to the line y equals x plus 7. That is exactly like the question we had before it. So why don't you pause the video now and see if you can do it yourself. Remember, you're plugging into y equals mx plus b. And it's parallel to this line. So you need to think about what is the slope of this line. And you're going to use that slope and this point, and you're going to plug in to this equation here. Y, m, and x, and find b. Okay? All right, hopefully you did pretty good. The slope of this line here was 1. That's what's in front. It's always the number in front of x. And So I plug that into y equals mx plus b, and I got that my y-intercept was -3. If you remember, the y-intercept is the value of y when x is 0, and you saw that ordered pair and saw 0 for x, you could have instantly been like, oh my gosh, the y-intercept is -3. But that's okay if you didn't see that. This didn't take that long to solve. All right, moving on. Number 6. Write an equation of a line that passes through the point -2, 4 and is parallel to the given line. Here's my slope. Okay? I'm parallel. That means my slope is the same. So 4 equals -1/2 times -2 plus b. Then my negative halves, well, my -2 here and this -2 cancel each other out. And I have 4 equals 1 plus b. Subtract 1, and I have b equals 3. So I have my b, I got my slope. I'm ready to go. Y equals -1/2 x plus 3. All right, let's look at perpendicular lines. Okay, remember, perpendicular lines are reciprocal opposites. So I'm going to try to type that because my handwriting is not the best. So reciprocal opposite slopes. That means flip it, change the sign. Okay? Don't forget that. Oh, I did not mean to do that. You got to flip it and change the sign. Reciprocal, it's upside down. Opposite, change the sign. And I might have spelled opposite wrong. Nope, it is yours. All right. So we're going to write an equation of a line that passes through this point. So we're still going to use that as our x and y. And is perpendicular to the slope. So perpendicular to the slope. This slope is 1. Well, 1 over 1. If I flip it upside down, it's still going to be 1 over 1, but I need to change the sign. That makes it -1. So perpendicular to that is, remember that's perpendicular, is -1. So I plug in my y, -5 equals my slope, which is perpendicular, -1 times 2 plus b. I get -5 equals -2 plus b, add 2 to both sides, and b equals -3. I got my m, I got my b, I'm going to put it all together. Y equals -x minus 3. That is my linear equation. All right, let's look at another example. Why not? We're on a roll here. All right, in this example, we're going to write the equation line that passes through this point. Here's my x comma y. And is perpendicular to this slope, to this line, okay? So remember, you got to flip it. So 1 over 4 becomes 4 over 1. Change the sign. So m equals -4. I get -2 equals -4 times 2 plus b. -2 equals -8 plus b. Add 8 to both sides, and b equals 6. Got my m, I got my b, I'm ready to go. Y equals -4x plus 6. All right, this is easy peasy, hopefully easy. I'm making up my own words. All right, here we go. Why don't you guys pause the video, or gals, sorry, pause the video and see if you know what you're doing. And the magic of TV will work. So make sure you pause it, because you don't want to just see the answer right away. It takes all the fun right out of it. Okay, perpendicular to y equals 3x plus 5 means the slope is now -1/3. Don't worry about fractions, sometimes they work out. So I plug in my y, 1 equals negative 1/3. Plug in my x times 3 plus b. 3's cancel. 1 equals negative 1 plus b. Add 1 to both sides. B equals 2. Put it together and you are finished. All right, here's a special case, okay? So we're going to write an equation of a line with a slope of 0 that passes through the point. Think about what kind of line has a slope of 0. So if I draw a quick coordinate plane, we're talking about a line like this, has a slope of 0. That's a horizontal line. It intersects the y-axis. So it is a y line. Every single point on a horizontal line has the same y coordinate. So look at this y coordinate. Y is equal to 5. That is the equation of the line with the slope of 0 that passes through this point. Now here is another special line. We're going to write an equation of a line with an undefined slope and passes through the point negative 2, 5. Let's look at a little quick picture here. Right, here's my coordinate plane. Here is my line that I'm talking about. Oh, you guys know I suffer from I can't draw straight lines to save my life thing. Okay, so look at this line, right? It intersects the x-axis. Kabushki. So, it has an undefined slope. That's a vertical line. Remember that. Vertical lines have undefined slope. Like, unless you're Spider-Man, you're not getting up that. It's undefined. It's when 0 is in the denominator. So when it intersects the x-axis, where it intersects, every single point on this line is going to have the same x coordinate. It's a vertical line going straight up and down. So we just simply look at this x coordinate. X is equal to negative 2. That is the equation of the line with an undefined slope that passes through the point negative 2, 5. Okay? Undefined slope, vertical lines. All right, here's something else we're going to talk about. Graphing an equation in standard form. When you see an equation in standard form, I want you to think x and y intercepts. Okay? X and y intercepts. So I'm put my y-intercept down here. And what that means, because remember, if I'm on the x-axis, y equals 0. Everywhere on this x-axis on a point, y equals 0. If I'm on the y-axis, every point on here, x equals 0, right? Because I never go left or right, I go up or down. So when we're finding the x and y intercepts, we just plug in 0 for y. So 3x plus 4 times 0 equals 12. 3x equals 12. Divide by 3, x equals 4. Plot a point on the x-axis where x equals 4. Okay, remember the y-intercept? That is when x is 0. So we're going to plug in 0 for x here. And we're going to solve for y. We get 4y equals 12. Divide both sides by 4. Y is equal to 3. I'm going to plot that point on the y-axis, 3. Now I have 2 points. That's all I really need to graph an equation. And I'm going to use my graphing tool because I'm not the best at it. Even with the graphing tool, I'm still getting better. That's good enough. There you go. Plotted my 2 points, x and y intercepts. When you see standard form, that's how easy it is. Some people instantly want to solve for y, and you could do that and put it in slope-intercept form, but I think this is much simpler. All right, let's try it again. This is in standard form. X and y are on the same side. So if I look for my x-intercept, oh my. Did not mean that. That's going to be 2x minus 3 times 0 equals 6. 2x equals 6, x equals 3. And then for my y-intercept, 2 times 0 now, minus 3y equals 6. Negative 3y equals 6. Divide by negative 3, y equals negative 2. So at that point, that actually wasn't too bad. All right, graph my line. X and y intercepts when you see standard form. Think about that. All right, these are special lines. Remember, we talked about this a couple of slides ago when we were talking about vertical and horizontal lines. If you see one variable, that's what's happening. Y equals 4 means you want to go to where y equals 4 on the y-axis, plot a point, and then every point on this line, y is equal to 4. You don't have to plot all these points, but I just want to illustrate that. And that is a horizontal line. Okay, y equals 4 is a horizontal line. It's in blue. Then x equals negative 3. X lines are vertical, right? They intersect the x-axis. So every point on this line, x equals 3, and that's why that's the equation. It's just that simple. Right? That is a vertical line. And where they intersect just so happens to be the point negative 3, comma 4. Ooh, I guess my pen is in large mode. All right, remember vertical, horizontal lines. Y lines are horizontal, they intersect the y-axis. X lines are vertical and intersect the x-axis. Here is your assignment for tonight, number 14, 4 to 44 even. Please let me know if you have any questions and have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.